Well, good morning and welcome to this segment of the Newstalk WTIM Morning Show, heard here on the big 870 AM all across central Illinois, 96.1 FM in Christian County and 107.5 FM in Shelby County. My guest here for this segment, joining me on the phone, is Melissa Rybolt. She's the marketing manager over at Pana Community Hospital. Melissa, thanks for coming on the show this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Now, let's get into our discussion here today. A lot of things going on down there at Pana Community Hospital, a lot of updates. Sounds like some exciting stuff.
Right. I think the theme for this year here at the hospital, as well as a lot of our clinics, is updates, and expansion. So we are just knee-deep in all different kinds of construction projects going on, and I just kind of wanted to talk with the listeners today about some of the different construction projects that we have going on. The first one that I wanted to talk a little bit about is some people in the Pana area may have noticed that the Pana Medical Group, which is located in downtown Pana at 217 South Locust, their office has been closed for the last several weeks, and we're doing some upgrades of that particular office downtown.
Wonderful.
They've got, we're getting a new front entrance, and they're redoing the waiting room as well as the registration station that people come up to. And I think a lot of people are driving by and seeing that that office is closed. But I wanted to remind everyone that if they are a patient of the Pana Medical Group, we do have offices for that particular practice located in Nokomis and Ramsey. And the physicians and our nurse practitioner are still working very hard in those two office locations. So if anyone has any medical needs, they are seeing patients in Nokomis and Ramsey. So there is phone service at the Pana office. So if anybody calls in to the Pana Medical Group, there is people there to answer the phones. They can refill prescriptions, and they can make appointments for our patients in the Nokomis and Ramsey office. And we hope to be finishing up that project hopefully by the end of the week.
Okay, I was just about to ask you when you expect those projects to be completed, but it sounds like it's pretty soon.
Yeah, we're just finishing up painting and just trying to get everything put back together. So the offices will be closed over the 4th of July holiday, but when we're hoping that by July 5th, those offices will be open and ready to go. So, but if you are a patient of that, you know, you just need to be watching for updates. We put updates on the Pana Community Hospital website, our Facebook page, and then, of course, you can always call any of the office locations to see, you know, when that office will be open.
So how did some of these updates come about? Were they just kind of scheduled updates, or?
Yes, the Pana Community Hospital is now in partnership with the Pana Medical Group. So they're owned by the hospital. That happened within the last year or so. And we just felt like that there just needed to be some updates for that particular office, both, you know, aesthetically and for, you know, better patient flow, patient privacy when they're coming in and making appointments and stuff like that. So we just felt like that even though we had to close the office for a couple weeks to make the updates, it's really going to be a lot better for the patients once we get that open and going.
So not only will it look better, but it should also operate better and more smoothly in the future. Yes.
And, you know, we are working with an older office downtown that's been there for years and years and years. So, you know, sometimes updates are needed to keep those offices, but, you know, it is a perfect location and it's served our community well. So we want to make sure that it continues to serve the community.
Is this the only updates going on out that way, or is there other things going on kind of in conjunction with this, I guess you could say?
Well, we have all kinds of exciting things going on here at Pana Community Hospital. We announced in our annual report earlier this year that we were awaiting approval for a major expansion plan. That approval had to be given to us by Illinois Department of Public Health, and they have approved our project. So everything is a go for Pana Community Hospital's expansion project. we are now working on some of the smaller details that are going to go with that expansion project. If you drive to the back of Pana Community Hospital, you can see that our new Quad County Home Health building is located just behind Pana Community Hospital, and we've had to take down some trees behind Pana Community Hospital, or behind Quad County Home Health, because we're going to expand the employee parking, because when the actual expansion starts on the back of the hospital, it is going to take up a lot of our employee parking area. So they're also digging up things to relocate gas lines. They'll be relocating utility lines, and we're hoping to actually start the expansion project, the 1st of August is when that particular expansion project will hopefully start.
Okay, wonderful. And is there any kind of time frame right now as far as how long that work is expected to be done?
The expansion projects are going to be in 2 different phases. We'll be expanding on to the back of the hospital. That's phase 1. That will provide the hospital with a new outpatient services area, including new laboratory and diagnostic imaging area. And then on the second floor of that will be our new surgical suites. That will be phase 1 of the project, and then phase 2 of the project will be some updates and renovations to the front of Pana Community Hospital. So we will be adding on to the front, and that is phase 2. And we're looking that this is probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of a 3 to maybe a little bit longer project, about a 3-year project.
Okay, and then when the work is done, just exactly what kind of improvements are patients going to experience when they come to Pana Community Hospital due to these expansion projects?
They're going to have, first of all, the flow of Pana Community Hospital is going to be a lot better. So when you come into the new area of the hospital, there'll be a huge registration and waiting area that will be not only aesthetically pleasing, but also, it will set up a wonderful waiting area for the patients. And then they'll be directed back to, if they have any type of imaging or outpatient services, it's all going to be located in one particular area. That will be more, so there'll be a new imaging and as well as laboratory. They'll all be relocated for better patient flow. And then also our surgical services will be able to be expanded. Right now, our surgical suites are really at capacity as far as what they can do. We're going to be updating our surgical suites, and then we'll have an outpatient area where after post-surgical, patients will be able to go to an outpatient area to wait for discharge. Right now, our surgical patients are brought down to the second floor, and they're put in a patient room until they're discharged. But when the new surgical suites are built, they'll have outpatient surgical areas. And it's just going to be a lot better flow for the patients. In the front of the hospital, we'll be adding an urgent care onto the front of the hospital. So when patients come in, they'll be able to be triaged, whether or not their condition is something that more of an urgent care needs, such as a sore throat or something like that. And, if they're having a more emergent need, such as they're having chest pains or something like that, they'll be taken back to the emergency department. So it'll be a lot better flow for patients.
Wonderful. And, that's something that I know some people, you might not think about it when it comes to a hospital, just design and layout and all that, but it can make such a huge difference just not having to go, all corners of the hospital for your various needs. It's so convenient to have it right there.
Exactly. We're working with a hospital that is over 100 years old. The main part of the hospital was built in 1914. And our hospital, a lot of different communities are tearing down their old hospitals and rebuilding completely. And when we were looking at the structure of the main part of the hospital, it was still very, very sound structurally, and that is not something that we wanted to do. So we're able to add on to our hospital to be able to add services that our modern-day patients need and be able to require, but we're also able to keep the main part of our hospital that has been a part of our community for years.
Wonderful. And we have more to talk about here coming up in just a bit with our discussion with Miss Melissa Rybolt, a marketing manager at Pana Community Hospital, right here on this segment of the Newstalk WTIM Morning Show, now streamed online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.